Yeah, this is the Fantasy Blitz Show, and we back again with another episode for y'all. Today, we're going to go over our top 10 wide receiver rankings and compare those side by side to what the experts are predicting. Now, keep in mind that this is half PPR, so it is going to be a little different from standard rankings, so just keep that in mind. And before we get into it, if you guys made it this far and like the content so far, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for more content like this. But with all that said, let's get into it. So let's start off with what the experts are predicting the top 10 wide receiver rankings will be this year. All right, at number 1 they have Justin Jefferson, number 2 Tyreek Hill, number 3 Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs at 4, Jamar Chase at 5, AJ Brown at 6, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 7, CeeDee Lamb at 8, Jalen Waddle at 9, and DK Metcalf at 10. Some of those I totally agree with, or might have players in not that specific order. Some of these players I don't even have on a list. So let's go over my predictions of these top 10 wide receiver rankings. So at number 1, I think it's just easy for all of us to agree. It's got to be Justin Jefferson. JJ is a monster. Honestly, I think he is the modern day Randy Moss, actually, all right? He, in his first 3 seasons, okay, no one has made or has had as many receiving yards as Justin Jefferson, okay? The only other one receiver that was close was Randy Moss, and he already passed him by 662 yards already in 3 seasons. So modern day Randy Moss, yeah, sounds like it. My man is a monster. Obviously, led the league in catches with 128 last season and receiving yards with over 1,800 yards. So whatever they're doing in Minnesota, mind you, we know what they're doing in Minnesota. Not doing shit with their defense, and it causes their offense to play catch up or try to keep away with just throwing the ball. Justin Jefferson is going to be elite if that's the same mindset that Minnesota is going to go into for this coming season. He was also first in NFL in the NFL for yards per touch. Okay, he averaged over 13.9 yards. That's crazy. You're telling me every time he touched the ball, he was getting you at least 14 yards? That's crazy. That's a first down every time he touches the ball. That's ridiculous. So him at number 1 is where he shall stay. Number 2, I got Tyreek Hill. Okay, he finished last year as wide receiver 3. I'm putting him at 2 this year. For all the doubters that said, oh, he's going into Miami, he doesn't have Pat Mahomes, so he's not going to be the same Tyreek Hill. Mind you, I'm not going to lie, I was probably one of those doubters last season, but he shut me up. Let's look at these stats, all right? Without Mahomes, okay, he hit career highs with Miami on this first year, okay? Career highs in targets, 170 of them. Career high in catches, 119. He's never caught that many in Kansas City. And a career high in receiving yards with 1,700 yards. He's never did that with Mahomes. So for those who are saying that he couldn't do that with Mahomes, he just proved it to y'all. This man was so elite that he averaged 100 yards a game. There's maybe games where he might have did a little less than 100, but then make up for it in another game where he had 150 yards or so. So averaging 100 yards a game, that is unheard of, all right? And I don't know if you guys heard out in the press so far, Tyreek Hill did say he wanted to set his goal to hit 2,000 yards this season, all right? Mind you, he had 1,700, okay? Tua did get hurt, all right? So he was well on pace to be number 1 in receiving yards last year, but let's just say in the midseason where Tua got hurt and came back, okay? He was doing great. Also, only Tua missed those last 2 games. If Tua finished those last 2 games, Tyreek Hill probably would have hit 2,000 last year. would probably hit 2,000 yards last year if Tua didn't miss those 2 games. Yeah, he missed those in the middle, but those last 2 games I think was crucial enough for him to hit 2,000 yards. But I digress. We talk about Tyreek Hill. Number 2 is where I'm going to have him. Wide receiver 3 for me is going to be Ja'Marr Chase, okay? I love this guy. One of my leagues is a keeper league. I kept him last year. I'm keeping him again this year. He didn't have the best season last year. He finished top 12. He was like exactly wide receiver 12. So even though it wasn't the best season, if you still finish top 12, that's pretty good. He did miss 5 games due to hip injury, so that probably exactly was the reason why he didn't do so great. And I predict him to bounce back this year. Obviously, we saw what he did his rookie year, wide receiver number 2. Him and JJ in a tier of themselves. So Ja'Marr Chase at wide receiver 3, still with Joe Burrow throwing the ball. I see Ja'Marr Chase doing this thing, wide receiver 3. At number 4, I got AJ Brown. All right, last year he finished wide receiver 5. He's coming off the best season of his career. All right, mind you, he played what, 3-4 years in Tennessee? Yeah, best season of his career. He pretty much had career highs in every stat that matters. 88 catches, he's never did that. 145 targets, never saw that before. 1,400 yards, almost 1,500 yards actually, and 11 touchdowns. The man was balling last season, and obviously you saw a result of that with Philly getting to the Super Bowl. They didn't win it, but they got to the Super Bowl, and AJ Brown was a big part of that, other than Jalen Hurts. He finished second in yards after catch with 565 yards. He was balling, like I said. And my thing is, I think him and Devontae Smith was probably the most underrated duo in our league. Like, yeah, we got teams that we got like Miami with Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. You got, you know, Cincinnati with Chase and Higgins. You know, you got other teams that got like duos that are top ranked, but I think they are underrated in Philly. Coming to you at wide receiver number 5 is Davante Adams. Now, I'm gonna take this with a grain of salt. I don't think he's going to finish top 5. I have him here because the man is too talented to like ignore. You know what I mean? And we've seen him do with the QB switch still be top 5. You know what I mean? But this year, there's too many concerns for me. Obviously, QB Jimmy Garoppolo, who doesn't throw down the field at all, and Davante Adams' bread and butter is the deep ball. So what is he going to do there? So they're going to have to design plays for Davante Adams, which probably going to take him out of his element a little bit. But once again, like I said, the man is too talented to be ignored. But he did come off a great season last season with Derek Carr, his college roommate. You know, so you got Aaron Rodgers and Derek Carr who know him, who got chemistry with him, and then you throw in Jimmy G now, like, who doesn't throw the ball, who may not even start the season off of his injury and his surgery. Like, that sucks. Last season he had 100 catches. Do I see that this year? And he was first amongst the wide receiver position for touchdowns, all right? 14 of them, all right? No other wide receiver did that last season. So he did that with Derek Carr. Jimmy G, I don't even see double digit with him, let alone maybe 8 or 7. Like, I don't know about that. That's where I see his more, like, his huge drop off in production this season. Like I said again, I have him here at 5, but not gonna lie, he may drop out of my top 10 real soon. These lists always gonna fluctuate, hearing news out of camps or injuries and such. So right now we'll just have him there, but I guarantee you in the next week or 2 or next month, I'm not even gonna have him up there. So we'll just temper our expectations with Davante Adams and just keep him there for now. Wide receiver number 6, I got Stefon Diggs. Finished wide receiver 4 last year, all right? This man is too consistent to not be top 5. Like, it doesn't make sense. In the 3 years of him being in Buffalo, he's averaged 113 catches a season, a little under 1,400 receiving yards a season, and had 9.7, so let's just round it up to 10 touchdowns a season. The man is too consistent. Why wouldn't he be top 5? You know what I mean? So there has been concerns with him chatting it up with Josh Allen. You saw that in the playoffs where, you know, they couldn't make that hump to get into the Super Bowl. And then there was a little bit of drama at the OTAs where he was claiming that he wasn't going to come in. He didn't. Then he came the next day to talk to whoever he had to talk to. And now he's back. So I feel like those concerns are out the window. I feel like that's just any human reaction of frustration. You know what I mean? You didn't make it to the Super Bowl again. Your team is that great, and you did how well? Your quarterback did how well, and you still have no Super Bowl appearance to show for it? That's frustration. Anybody's gonna get frustrated with that. So I don't blame him. So Stefon Diggs at wide receiver 6. He's probably gonna go move up over Davante Adams. So I'm not even worried about him. Coming to you at wide receiver number 7 is going to be my boy, Garrett Wilson. I'm going to try to throw out the window that I'm being biased and that's the reason why he's top 10. I don't think you guys realize how good Garrett Wilson is. Here's a little stat line for you guys, all right? Mind you, he had over 1,100 yards last season with shitty quarterbacks. Shitty, okay? I had a little bit of faith in Zach Wilson. Gone. Then Mike White, he's good, got hurt. Joe Flacco, old, should have been retired. So with Zach Wilson, okay, Garrett Wilson had 34 catches, 447 yards, and 0 touchdowns. My man was trying to be productive, but horrible play at QB, you know, stunted his growth. Then without Zach Wilson, this is coming from guys, QBs like Mike White, like I said, and Joe Flacco. 49 catches, okay, so increases in catches, 656 yards, makes up way over what Zach Wilson did, and 4 touchdowns. So you saw his production start growing when he had better play at QB. Not saying Mike White and Joe Flacco was so much better than Zach Wilson, but they are better than Zach Wilson, so fuck it. My man is a monster. He finished second amongst wide receivers in missed tackles. So my man was, yo, out there breaking tackles, making people miss. So now you have a great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers getting ready to throw the ball to him, and now he's there for all off season, the preseason, and then you get to start the season with him. Oh yeah, that chemistry. If they stay with that chemistry, bro, it could be him and Davante Adams all over again. Mind you, Davante Adams wore number 17. Guess what number Garrett Wilson wears? 17. Shout out to the little bro Kev. He's got huge upside, obviously with the missed tackle ability, and then huge upgrade at QB. Him at 7, bro, I'm not gonna lie, he could probably be up at like top 3 as long as there's no injuries. You know, Aaron Rodgers, it's the Aaron Rodgers we know and love. I don't see why he couldn't be top 3. At wide receiver 8, I've got CeeDee Lamb. I like CeeDee Lamb a lot, all right? He finished last year wide receiver 6. Every season he's been with Dallas, he's just gotten better and better. And Dallas offense is still top 5 easily. So his production is still going to be through the roof. Easy wide receiver 1 on your team. He tied 4th in wide receivers in targets last year. He had 156, bro. That's 4th. That man was targeted a lot. Mind you, now they got some help. They got Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup back, coming 1 year off of his injury. They did have him last season, but he couldn't stay healthy, or he had a nagging injury. Now that they have him back, along with Brandon Cooks, I feel like that's just going to stretch the field more. It's going to open up that field for him. And I feel like those targets may come a little down, but I think it's just more opportunities because of the field being stretched. Now him coming out of the slot, even better. This is how many targets this man had got last year, all right? He saw more than twice the targets of the second wide receiver in Dallas in targets. It sounded a little funky, but let's just say 156 targets. That's what he had. The next guy below him in Dallas didn't even have half that. That sad. So they definitely needed more weapons to throw to. I mean, so maybe that's the reason why Dak did what Dak did in the playoffs. But now they got Gallup and Cooks, so maybe that will help. But CeeDee Lamb's still elite. Wide receiver number 9 is going to be Jalen Waddle for me. Finished wide receiver 7. Mind you, once again, these guys I put under Davante Adams probably going to move up, and Davante Adams is going to fall off this list. But I digress. Jalen Waddle as the wide receiver number 2 on the Dolphins. Okay, so remember him and Tyreek. He's only the wide receiver 2 on the offense. He had similar success to CeeDee Lamb, the guy I just talked about, bro. Literally, the only difference is like one less touchdown. If it wasn't for that one less touchdown, he probably would have finished a little higher, if not tied with CeeDee Lamb last season. He finished top 5 wide receiver in 5 weeks. All right, out of his 17 games he played, finished top 5 times. All right, Tua doesn't die. Okay, pray he doesn't die, because I am trying to get him in a couple of my leagues this year. But if he doesn't die, Waddle will probably only just get better, and probably eventually, if Tyreek Hill does, he's been contemplating retirement after this season. If he does, Jalen Waddle upside is going to be through the roof. The duo, this is why I said that it's like unfair. The duo of him and Tyreek Hill combined had over 3,000 yards, bro. Like, some teams don't even have 3,000 yards. Some of the quarterbacks don't even throw for 3,000 yards. It's not fair at all. So Jalen Waddle at number 9. Shout out to you, boy. And number 10, we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's a beast. He tied 8th for most red zone targets. So his touchdown upside is going to be great. He doesn't have Jameson Williams for the first 6 weeks. So he's going to be the number 1 option. Jared Goff, not going to lie, last season was a huge surprise for me. Can he maintain that? If he can, Amon-Ra is going to be that dude. I feel like even if he did mediocre, meaning Jared Goff was only mediocre, it's still going to help Amon-Ra, because that's going to be his number 1 option until Jameson Williams comes in. And even when Jameson Williams comes back, is that really going to be a bad thing for Amon-Ra? I don't know. I mean, Jameson Williams is a beast himself, but I feel like Amon-Ra is that number 1 guy. Williams is just going to be number 2 for him. Only behind Tyreek Hill. He had a 32% target rate per route. So he was targeted crazy every time he ran a route. Every time. 32%, that's a huge number. No Jameson Williams, 6 weeks. So those first 6 weeks, Amon-Ra's going to ball out, and I feel like this is going to make up for everything else that if he does to fall off a week or 2, those first 6 weeks, it's going to make up for all of that. So Amon-Ra at number 10. You got it, G. And that's going to be a wrap for this episode of our top 10 wide receiver rankings. Once again, if you guys enjoyed this content, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. We're going to try to do this as often as we can. Check out our next episode for our top 10 tight end rankings. And don't forget, put those notifications on for any other content we do come out in the future. But I'm Frankie J. This is the Fantasy Blitz Show, and we out. Peace.